Good morning and Happy New Year and welcome to the Geelong Cricket Show for 2010. Time flies when you're having fun, and we certainly do in the world of our great game of cricket. Joining me at the New Year table for 2010 continues on with his walking, talking and writing the great game of cricket, Tim Michell.
Thanks, Graham. Yeah, it was a little bit strange, obviously, not to have cricket this over the previous couple of weekends because it's obviously we're taking a break at the moment, but I'm sure all the cricketers are enjoying their time off, spend some time with their families, and I'm guessing our special guest is probably in that category as well.
Yes, I think our special guest this morning, because he's got the wheels moving out the front of our studios after we finish the show. He's making his way up to Albury for the captain of the Victorian side in the Australian Country Cricket Championships yet again. It's a very warm welcome to, yes, probably, not probably, take it back, Roy, the best all-rounder in Geelong cricket, Brad Hornstein. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good, thanks, Rollo. Thanks for being here. Yeah, going well. Good Year's Eve, and I'm ready to get back into playing cricket again.
Up into the warmth of Albury, it'll test you up there again?
It will. It's going to be pretty warm up there, so I have to keep the fluids up and look after myself at night times.
Keep the fluids up. Drink plenty of crystal clear water from up down around Albury. Let's have a reflection on 2010 as where in Premier Cricket the Geelong Cricket Club may be heading. You recall they finished on top of the ladder in the first 11 competition at the end of 2009, and they begin at their 2010 part of the campaign sitting in that position and wanting to hold it. The second 11 are third, the third 11 are sixth, and the fourth 11 are sixth. In the club championship, Geelong are just behind Ringwood. Ringwood leading the club championship, Geelong in second position. Tim, it's going to be a very, very challenging second half of the season for the Geelong Cricket Club, given the two games of the final rounds, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, will be played at home. The others will be played away. Yeah,
I think challenging is probably the correct word that you used there, Graham. They've had a difficult time over the last couple of seasons, Geelong, after Christmas, and it's time that they turn that around. I think over the last few seasons we've seen them really build some momentum at the start of the year, only to drop off, and yes, they were runners-up last season, so they shook that tag a little bit, but I think Damien Shanahan's going to have his boys with a pretty steely focus when they return to action, because they've set themselves with a really, really nice platform to obviously add another bit of silverware, having got the 2020 trophy already in the cabinet after defeating, I think it was St Kilda up there in Melbourne, so that was fantastic to see some silverware already in the trophy cabinet. But Damien Shanahan will know now, with that put to one side, that the focus has got to be on making sure that the Cats put another trophy in that cabinet.
Brad, from your position, playing in GCA Division 1, looking at Premier Cricket, you'll be obviously impressed with the way Geelong are travelling?
Yeah, definitely. They've been very consistent across all fields of the cricket this year, and they've certainly got some very mature cricketers that are in good form. So, as we all discussed, they need to be on top of their game in the coming weeks after Christmas to make sure they maintain that good position, because they're setting themselves up for a really good finish.
Well, 5 rounds before the end of the home and away series commences next Saturday. Geelong will play Melbourne in what they call the country week of the country round of Premier Cricket. But this time it's Geelong playing Melbourne at the MCG. That will be a great one-day competition. Then Paran down at the Geelong Cricket Ground, Essendon at Windy Hill, Richmond down at the Geelong Cricket Ground, and Footscray at the Murphy's Oval. And those last 4 rounds are all 2-day games. So it's going to be a very, very, as we said, testing time for Geelong, and we wish them all the very best.
Graham, I just have to ask you, obviously, I think you're pretty keen to head up to the MCG. How can they have a country round where Geelong is playing? Geelong is a country town, I guess a bigger country town. They send us up to Melbourne to play at the MCG. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Ask Cricket Victoria, Tim, because that's a question that's been asked around. I think it's quite serious. It boils down to the fact that when the draw was being made, the MCG became available, and Cricket Victoria saw the opportunity of being able to give two Premier Cricket sides the opportunity of playing on the great MCG, and it just fell that way for Geelong and Melbourne, so good luck to them, and we'll look forward to that next Saturday. As we have a look at the Bellarine Peninsula Cricket Association, and Colin Dean is setting the pace in the A grade of the Bellarine Peninsula Cricket Association. Anglesea and Ocean Grove on top in B grade, 33 points, both suffering 1 defeat so far this season. In C grade, Drysdale still 1 point clear of Ocean Grove after a round 8 loss to the Colindina Cobras, and in D grade, the Queenscliff Cooters streaking away unbeaten after 11 rounds on 66 points, a game clear of the Newcombe Bulls. In A grade, Tim, it looks like it's going to be a very, very interesting final 4 rounds of the 2010 part of our season.
Yeah, it certainly is. There's probably 8 teams still in contention, I think it's fair to say, down on the Ballerine, with Jan Juck sitting in 8th position there, 2 games out currently. Oh, sorry, Graham, got a little bit choked up there, of claiming a spot within the top 6. Barwon Heads, last year's reigning premier, sitting 7th at the moment. I think 3 points out, having had a draw because of the rain-affected round. And then Drysdale in 6th position. So they're the sides whose spots are a little bit up in the air at the moment. I think Jan Juck are a good enough side, having played against them already this year, to mount a challenge. But really, the only spot that I can 100% say is set, I think, on the Ballerine at the moment is Colindina. They'll finish top of the ladder. They've played some fantastic cricket, and with the players they're expected to get back into their lineup. And I think if Michael Fabris, he hasn't really been in his A-grade form in the first half of the season. If he can hit form, it's going to be very tough to see any side betting Colindina, not only in the regular season, but also in the finals as well. And I think they're on track for their first A-grade premiership at the moment, because they're playing some fantastic cricket, the Cobras. But as you said, Graham, it's going to be a really, really tight finish, and looking forward to being part of it, hopefully as a part of that Barwon Heads A-grade side, which I was lucky enough to be a part of just before Christmas.
Tim, one of the interesting points of impact as far as the final six is concerned is the fact that in the Ballerine Peninsula Cricket Association A-grade, you play a bye, and there are no points awarded for a bye. In round 8, which commences next Saturday, Barwon Heads have the bye. In round 9, Queenscliff have the bye. And in round 10, Colindina have the bye. So you've got 3 of the top current 6 sides that will not be able to earn points. How impacting can that be?
Well, I don't think it'll have a huge impact on Colindina. As I've said, they've set themselves with a 9-point buffer already, so won't have too much of an impact on the Cobras season, because they've been playing fantastically and to obviously set themselves up. But Barwon Heads, it really does hurt that first game back not being able to play, because it gives Drysdale in 6th position playing Newcombe the chance to get 6 points ahead in 6th place and really open a buffer. That means the Barwon Heads are going to have to rely on other results coming into the action when they resume, Graham, in round 9. So it does put a big test for Barwon Heads. So I think having a look at the fixture in A grade, it's going to come down to a couple of really important games. One of those is Barrable and Barwon Heads. I think that game actually happens up in round 9. It's Barwon Heads' first game, and the Seagulls are going to have to win that if they're going to get back inside the top 6. And then Barrable are involved in another really important game if they're going to hold their spot inside the top 6 in the final round against Drysdale. And it might also end up being, depending on results for the Hawks, they've got a couple of testing games as well. It might end up being the game that cements Drysdale's place in the top 6, because I think both those sides are going to be on the brink of the 6 come that final round.
It's going to go down to the final ball in the Ballerine Peninsula Cricket Association A grade as we go to a break on the Geelong Cricket Show, and be back with more after this.